webinar. We'll wait for 2 more minutes so that more people join in, and then we'll start. I'll quickly introduce myself and the team. I'm Prasenjit. I work as program manager for the Lodha Genius Program. And I'm requesting the team to maybe just quickly introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Siddharth. I'm working as the assistant manager for operations. It's nice to be here and see you all. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rehan. I'm working with the operations and outreach for LGP right now. Very happy to see everyone here.
Ambika?
I think she logged off, like something happened.
She's
All right.
joining.
Kishore?
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Kishore. I'm part of the Science Advisory Council of Ashoka University, and I'm also supporting LGP in terms of its operations. Thank you.
All right. So before we jump into the webinar, I'll roughly explain how the structure looks like. So this is an hour-long webinar. So first 20-25 minutes, we'll talk about different aspects about the program, about the content and details. Today's webinar is going to be about the 2025 online test format. So we'll essentially be discussing what all is the components of the test, what kind of questions you should expect, how the test interface would look like so that you familiarize yourself with the features. And then we will open the next 30 minutes or so for questions. So in your interface, you should be able to see two features. One is the Q&A and the other one is raise hand. You can use either of those to post your question or to raise your question. We would advise you to refrain from using the chat feature because it is highly likely for the chat uh, to get lost in the trail, and for us as well to keep difficulty to keep track of your questions. So it is advisable that you adhere to Q&A so that we'll also be able to address each and every question very promptly. So before I start with all of this, I'll quickly introduce about the Lodha Genius Program. So LGP is a collaborative effort between the Lodha Foundation and Ashoka University. It's a fully funded scholarship program from grade group of 9 to grade group 12. By fully funded, it means that all whatever opportunities and experience that we are providing you, not a single penny is being expected or is required to be paid from your end. I'll just quickly show you the journey. So this is how it looks like. You will start off with an on-campus engagement, which happens during the month of May at Ashoka University, for where you will undergo different sorts of projects. You'll go through science projects and workshops. You will undergo mathematics. There are a lot of non-academic workshops catered to wide variety of interest, and of course, some life skills as well. There's something called as Great Ideas Seminar, where we also invite people who are scientists and industry leaders across the globe to come and interact with you. And also, prior to the program, when it officially starts, which is mid-May, we also have something called as Academic Bridge Program, which happens few days prior to it, which essentially is a class to enhance your speaking skills, to enhance your communication skills and overall presentation skills. So this is an essence of what all happens during the on-campus engagement, the first aspect of it. The second aspect is the continued learning, which will happen sometime roughly in month of July to December, which will be a mix of learning and development modules, which are online classes or self-paced courses. Of course, you can choose and pick whichever course you would wish to attend. or be part of. Along with that, we offer personalized mentorship to support your academic journey, on your college perspectives, on your possible career trajectories. And lastly, we do provide access and opportunities because we believe that the learning should not be restricted to LGP ecosystem. It should be beyond that at a global panel. So we do look for field visits, we do look for internships, competitions, where we send students at a national level and at an international level. And of course, all of that is taken care entirely by LGP, be it travel, be it stay, be it food, anything and everything, whatever expense is included is taken care entirely by us. There are no hidden costs to this. Students are not expected to pay at any point with the LGP intervention in place. So that is some overview of LGP. We have had some webinars prior to this, telling more in detail about the program, about the campus facilities, about some bits of the curriculum. So I think I'm requesting the team to put in the previous webinar links in the chat for you all to refer to. And but then even if in case there are some more additional information, you can check out the previous webinars. We have explained it in detail. And of course, if you have any doubts or concerns that come up, you can write to us on our email ID. And along with that, or you can also call our helpline numbers, which are also being shared in the chat. All right, so quickly jumping to the key dates of the program. The applications for LGP 2025 are already open. It started in from December 1st and it will end on January 15th. We would encourage you to apply as soon as possible and avoid the last minute filling the application, because with the influx, there might be some technical issues that might arise. So it's better and it's safe that you submit your application as soon as possible. It shouldn't take more than 30 minutes to complete an application. Once your application is completed, you will get a invite for an online test, which will be held on 8th of February, which will be followed with followed by interviews. I'll delve into that later on. On-campus engagement, which happens at Ashoka University, I've conveyed the dates. It starts from May 17th and will go on till June 16th. And from July onwards, we will start with LGP continued learning. Now, who all are eligible to apply and how to apply? So the eligibility currently, who are students who are in grade 8 to grade 11 across India, are invited for this, and they can apply for LGP. The selection process usually looks like you submit an online application form. Then there is a national level aptitude test, which is an MCQ based test. And if you shortlist and if you're shortlisted in the aptitude test, you will get invited for an online interview. Quickly delving into the application form segment. You have to visit www.lodhageniusprogramme.com. Maybe we can share that link in the chat as well. Once you open, this is roughly the page where you will land. You have to click on apply now. And once you click on apply now, you will be led to this particular page, which is sign up for an account. There are where either you can, so you have to register. Be careful with your mobile number and the email, because that is the email that we will be using to communicate you about your application process henceforth. So it is advisable that you use your email, which you frequently check and you also have access to. There is, once you also reach on this page, there is also something called as admission process guideline document. We would strongly encourage you to go through the document thoroughly before starting the application, so that you are well prepared in terms of what all is being asked of you during the application stage. And even if there are some documents and uploads that are to be made, you keep those documents in handy while filling your application form. So that is essentially the first part, how to submit an online application test. The second part, which is going to be the focus of today's webinar, is about the National Level Aptitude Test, which is the MCQ, and we'll delve deeper into it now. So basically, if you have submitted the application, you would have been aware. But if in case you are yet to submit application, LGP for 2025 is divided into 3 tracks. The first track is called as the junior track, which is for grade 9 and 10 students who will be in grade 9 and 10 during May of 2025, like while you are at Ashoka University. The second track is the science track, which is for grade 11 and 12 students. And the third track is the mathematics track, which is again for grade 11 and 12 students. So students who will be in grade 11 and 12, you would have gotten a choice if you would like to be part of science track or if you would like to be part of math track. So this segregation is basis that. People who are yet to fill the application, in the application form, you will be asked this question, provided you are at that eligible grade. So do look at the description of it as well. Just to give you a quick idea, science track essentially is a mix of mathematics plus science projects, whereas mathematics tracks is much more dedicated, focused aspect where you will be going through mathematics and some advanced level mathematics. So that is essentially the fundamental difference, like how it says maths track and science track. But that is how the 3 tracks are divided. Now, for any of these tracks, there is going to be an online test, which will consist of 2 parts. So part A and part B. The details of it, I'll just come in some time. The total duration of test is going to be of 1 hour. And there are no negative markings for incorrect answers during the test. Now, to go a little deeper into the text structure, so junior track and science track will essentially have a similar test, which will consist of 2 parts, part A, part B. Part A will consist of logical and analytical reasoning, and along with that, basic mathematics. So logical, and similarly, the part A would be same for mathematics track as well. So I'll just take a moment to delve a little deeper into this. So logical and analytical reasoning will essentially test your logical reasoning skills. It will comprise of questions wherein you questions in terms of pattern recognition, questions like statement and conclusion, or even if we talk of basic mathematics, it will test your questions based on percentage or uh, speed, distance. So something that is not, of course, advanced, but something that has been part of your curriculum. And along with that, how clearly you think and how you deduce to meaningful conclusions basis the data that is being presented. So essentially, part A would consist of that. I'll also show you some sample questions towards the end of the webinar, so that gives you more clearer idea. For part B, in terms of for scientific inquisitiveness and social intelligence, it will provide you more scenario-based questions, which will again put a scenario in forth, and then you will be required to critically assess the scenario, and based on that, give the most appropriate response that you think that deems fit. For advanced mathematics, it would be more essentially questions on calculus, on algebra, and statistics, and slightly advanced level of that. Yes, so part A will have total 60 questions. The question format throughout will be MCQs with single option correct. The duration for part A only is going to be 30 minutes. And the maximum score that you can earn is 60 marks. So essentially means 1 point or 1 mark for every correct answer. And again, to reiterate, for incorrect answers, there is 0 marks. There are no negative markings to it, so that you can attempt as many questions as possible during the stipulated time, because it's a lot of number of questions are fairly high compared to the time limit. So it requires you to be more fast paced while approaching. For part B, firstly, I'll cover the science track, so which will essentially be the junior track and science track. So for part B, which covers scientific inquisitiveness and social intelligence, the total questions again will be 60. The duration would be 30 minutes, and the maximum score that you can earn is 60 marks. The same logic as part A. For part B in advanced mathematics, the number of questions is lesser. It's 40 questions, which you will be required to complete in 30 minutes. And the maximum score again that you can earn is 40 marks. So to sum it up, it's going to be 2 paths. For junior track and science track, it is going to be 120 questions in total, with 30 minutes dedicated time for part A and part B. And there is no negative marking. For mathematics track, again, 60 questions in part A and 40 questions in part B. I hope it's clear, but in case if you still have doubts towards the end of it, we will clarify it and more. We'll clarify it more if in case you have still doubts left. All right. So now that is essentially the test structure and everything. Now we'll just delve a little into how do you access the link. So once you complete your online application form, you will receive an email with similar subject line as LGP test link. The subject line might vary. This is from the last year. It's essentially from an MCAT email, which is do not reply email. You can take the test sometime between 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Since it's 1 hour test, you can start your test anytime between this duration. And just the only caveat is once you start the test, you will be required to complete the test. So, but then there is time is the flexibility. The day although remains same. There are no modifications or accommodations to any other date or any other times apart from the window that is being shared. The link would be shared to you closer to the test. So you can perhaps just copy paste the link in your browser window or click on start now to begin the test. Once you open the link, you will have this as the landing page. Here you are required 4 details. First is of course student's first name and last name, the registered email ID. We will advise you like keep the registered email ID the same as what you have given in the application duration. So the email ID that you have provided in your application form, that email ID is the one that you have to make mention here. Along with that, after successful completion of your application, you would have received an application number. So some part of it is already here. I believe the last 6 digits, Kishore, correct me if I'm wrong. The 6 digits, it's there, right?
Yes.
Correct. So 6 digits, the last 6 digits you should make a note of. Essentially, we will advise you to keep a note of your application number handy while the test is going or when you appear for the test so that you can fill in this information, and it's a mandatory field. So once you have filled all this required conditions, you click on this button that you agree to the terms and conditions, and then this continue button will activate and it will proceed you to the next section, which is the instructions. So take some time to thoroughly go through all the instruction. It tells you again about the test structure, about the marking scheme, about the preparation, and about the proctoring aspects. There's also a disqualification policy that if in case any applicant is found in any form of malpractice or something that doesn't align with the test guidelines, your candidature might be terminated for at least this duration of LGP. So what essentially we would advise you to go through all the instructions thoroughly, understand what it is being said, make those adjustments so that you are not caught in such gray area situation. Once you are confident and have thoroughly gone through the instructions, you click on next. Once you click on next, there are 2 aspects. One is there is this test ID. Please make a note of your test ID. This will have the 2 parts, part A and part B, which will give you an essence of the focus area, the number of questions, and the duration. Once that is ready, or once you have gone through it, click on next. Yeah, so this is how the online test interface would look like. I'll just quickly walk you through some of the features. So of this, and I'll then go into the details of it. So this has essentially the questions, the options, the question panel. Along with that, there is a time window and all of this. I'll go one by one into the into detail. So on the center of the screen, you see this time. This timer tells you how much time you have left to complete the part. So here, if I have started, this starts from the part A, as we have seen in the previous thing. So this is the upcoming part A. So it shows me the amount of time that is left for me to complete the part A. There is something called as an accessibility feature, which has magnifier at this point. In case if you need it, you can use the magnifier to just enhance or enlarge the text that is there on the screen. Additionally, in the application form as well, we have mentioned about learning disabilities. So in case if you are facing any such concerns, you please mark it that in the in your application, and we will make the needful adjustments for during your test. Okay, coming back to the accessibility, this is the accessibility feature. There are two more features which are there. Yeah, just there is something called a skip question, which allows you to move to the next question if in case you are unsure of this question or you would want to come back to it later on. Okay, so there is the skip question which allows you to go to or move to the next question. In case if you are sure about one of the options and you select one of the options, there are two choices that are there. Once you have marked your option, you get one is the review later and the another is submit answer. So if you have marked your choice and if you are sure about that choice, you can click on the submit answer and that will record your response. If you are not sure and if you would like to revisit this question later on, you can mark your answer or answer choice and click on review later. Either way, just one clarification. If your XYZ number of questions are in the phase of review later, and if your timer ends, the system will count those review later answer choices as your final answer choices. So just wanted to tell you that. On the right side of the screen, you see this panel. So where there are these numbers written, this essentially is your question panel or question interface. You can tap on any of these questions, any of these numbers, and you will directly jump to that question number. So it's better that you make a note of that. I mean, you can use this feature to directly jump into the other questions and everything. For the previous thing that I had mentioned about the two features, review later, submit answer, and skip, those three things, the status of it would be available on your panel. So the questions that you answer completely and submit and click on submit answer, they will be shown as a green fill. The questions that you mark for review, it will be shown in orange, like how it is here for review. And the questions that you skip will be will have an outline of this brown orange color, and which would essentially be your skipped question. The idea is that when you look at the question panel throughout, you will be able to know clearly which questions you have answered, which questions you have marked for review later, and which questions you have skipped. So towards the end of your test, or if you would want to dedicate some time to just go through all these questions, it becomes easy to navigate. Once you have completed all the questions, you will get an overview. Like this will give you, this will appear once you attempt the last question of any of the part. It will show you the number of questions that you have skipped, the number of questions you have marked for review, the number of questions you have not viewed, and either you can revisit this question in order, and it will come in a sequential order. There is also an option to revisit the skipped question first. And then, like, once you have gone through all the questions, and if you feel confident about all the responses that you have made, you can click on submit the assessment. Once you click on submit assessment, it will give you an option that if you are sure and if you'd like to submit the assessment, because that will be counted as your final submission, you click on submit, and then you will be directed to another same interface as you saw it in part A, where it will show complete for part A, and for part B, it is an upcoming thing. which will again give you some focus areas, the number of questions and duration. Don't go right now into the details of it. The structure will be, of course, modified as per your test. You click on next, and it will again be the very similar process. You will be directed at the test interface. There would be number of questions. There would be a timer in between, and again with the similar options. So with the skip button, with the review button, review later, and the submit answer. Once you complete all the details of part B, you will again land on a similar interface where you can either revisit the questions that you have not viewed, you can visit the skipped questions in the sequential order. And once you feel confident, you can click on submit assessment. The similar panel comes up. And after that, you will get a response on your portal saying that your test is now complete. Thank you. So till you see this, this is the entire end-to-end, the duration and the process of the test. So that is how it essentially looks like. The test interface. Some pointers that we would like to put forth so that you can make a note of it and make adjustments before you actually appear for the test. Few of the do's, like definitely the test, you can access the test through smartphone, but we would advise strongly that you attempt the phone either using your laptop or desktop computer, because that will allow you to more comfort, like that will provide a more comfortable experience when you appear for the test. Make sure you are in a quiet environment with a stable power supply and reliable internet connection during the test, so that you don't get automatically logged out of the test, or you are finding yourself difficult to navigate and the either the window closes or the window reloads. So again, it might again log you out of the test, or we don't know what other possible glitches can come up. So it's better that if you can identify a place where you can sit or dedicate an hour with a stable power supply and a reliable internet connection, nothing better than that. If you are using a smartphone, make sure that you turn off the push notifications for the applications. So whichever applications that you have, I mean, there is a option that you go into the settings and you disable the notifications. Because as the notifications do come up, it will appear as a new pop-up, and there's a possibility that you might get logged out of the test. So while I understand that either you can maybe just inform your people who would frequently you in touch with that, like, this is the dedicated time that you have a test for, so avoid calling or something. And for the application point, you can definitely disable the push notifications, which is ideally a good practice. But nonetheless, over smartphone, we would still advise you to use a laptop or a desktop. But if in case you aren't able to access one, then by all means, please use the smartphone as well. Few of the don'ts. So make it a point not to copy the question text or to switch tabs or open new tabs while you are attempting the test, because the system would recognize that and it would halt your test experience. The second thing is, if you are using a smartphone, do not open any other apps apart from your browser screen, which is the test interface. Tap onto any of the notifications that you get, or attend any calls that you get while you are attempting the test. Lastly, do not take photos or screenshot of the test screen at any point. Like I mentioned some time ago, in case all of these are breaches of whatever is the test guideline and the structure that we have put, it might lead to disqualification of your candidature if you are found guilty of any of the aspects that I am mentioning in the don'ts. And the LGP management team will hold a right to take a call on your application later on. So, and these are no contest situations. So be very careful and be very mindful of the environment that you are in and the integrity with which you are attempting the test. So some of the sample questions, I'll just quickly skim through it. You did look at the different parts and everything. So this essentially is the sample question for the part A, which is logical and analytical reasoning and basic mathematics. I won't go much depth into what kind of question it is, but if you look at this, this is essentially a positioning question. So not much of a math knowledge is required, but some logical reasoning is required to be able to deduce the answer to this. The second one that you are seeing is pattern recognition. So these are the kind of questions that you will essentially encounter as a part A of your online test. In part B, this is for scientific inquisitiveness. Like I was saying, it will allow you to it will give you a scenario based question, and you will be holding a particular role in that scenario, and you will be asked what your response to that situation or actionable would be. Like, of course, it doesn't require an additional preparation, essentially, but it just tests how you are able to assess the situation, how you are able to analyze the data that is provided, and how you are able to deduce conclusions. So no additional preparation required as such. This is for social intelligence. Like, again, it's more towards how do you approach interpersonal relationships or something. It also evaluates your own self-awareness. How is your communication style? How do you think of a system? Like, is it more individualized way, or is it in consideration with your peers around you? How do you arrive at decision? Is it more individualized? Is it more collective? Those kind of scenario based question along with answers. Again, it does not require any additional preparation as such. It is essentially how you think and interpret of the scenario. This is for advanced mathematics. So again, going back, we had discussed that junior part and science had part A, along with that mathematics track had part A similar. So part A is similar across all the tracks, which we have just seen now. For part B, scientific inquisitiveness and social intelligence, we have looked at it. This is the part B of mathematics, which will essentially consist of questions from algebra, geometry, calculus, and more advanced problem solving. There are a few of the questions that you can see here. One is based on mean and median. And I think the other one is more of a logical reasoning skills. So that is essentially how the sample questions are there. One thing is we will be sharing a test guideline document with you shortly. Expect it sometime around January, which will again consist of all the sample question along with the test structure. So, and of course, this webinar is also being recorded. So you can go at length later on as well in time if you wish to revisit some sections, if you would like to look at the sample questions more in depth and analyze them, that is all possible. All right, so I think that is the end of it. We will now open the floor to questions. In case if you have anything, you can put your questions in Q&A. I assume that is already happening. And along with that, you can raise hands as well.
I think we have already answered around 92 questions.
Yeah.
So we'll just go with the hand raised one because maybe there is something which is common.
Yes.
We want to listen to. So I'll go first with Yogesh. Yogesh, Madhvi, you can ask the
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
Yeah.
I too much late.
Sorry?
I just connect to webinar.
Okay.
I have not listened nothing.
That's all right. You'll get your recording of the webinar to your email ID. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Then we have from Reform Foundation. There is a question.
Yeah, hi everyone.
Hello.
This is Lebulisa from Kashmir. So I hope everybody is doing well and in the warm weather. Okay, so I just had a quick question about you said that when a student is appearing for the test, they're not supposed to browse in other windows, copy paste, or do anything such. if a student, for example, is doing anything such, will he be monitored by you at the back end? Is there any way you get to know and you disqualify the student there and then?
Yes, we do get to know. So there is a proctoring enabled on the platform. The platform itself will throw an error. Since we don't have human invigilators there, it is going to be very machine oriented. So since if they look at the proctoring, and it will be a disqualification and they will be logged out of the test immediately.
Okay, okay. And is this instruction given before the test? Like
Yeah,
we
so
give them
it's
this instruction before the test, right?
So it will be given on the email that they receive with the test link. It will also show on the test interface. There was an instruction panel which I had shown. It is also present there. And all this is already mentioned in written. We'll also mention it in the guideline document to reinforce. So multiple modes of reminding them, all those things would be there.
Thank you. Thank you. One more thing, last question is that are there any books that students can buy from the market which will help them to build their logical and analytical reasoning?
So any book should work, whichever have, or there are a lot of online resources also available. No dedicated book that LGP endorses. But if they wish to get a grip of the questions or just build on the time aspect, there are multiple websites that are available online that also have logical or aptitude based questions. Or if any book which is aptitude based should do. For mathematics, for advanced mathematics, the curriculum and everything would be slightly higher. It would be around a grade 11, grade 12. For basic mathematics, it would not extend more than grade 10. But it won't be something that a student won't be able to answer. It would.
Okay. Thank you, Prasenjit. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's go to Preetham. Preetham, you can unmute
Yeah,
and
ma'am.
ask the question. Yeah.
After how many days of the test submission there will be a result, ma'am?
Sorry, your voice is breaking. Could you please repeat?
After how many days of the test submission there will be a result, sir?
So we will reach out to shortlisted candidates sometime in March. We can't confirm a precise date at this point, but they will mostly be reached out. We'll reach out in March.
Yeah. Also, you can watch our webinar in January where we will be discussing this. That is, I think, January 25th, if I'm not, yeah. January 25th, we will have a webinar about the timeline. So you can come back on it so that we have more clarity on the dates.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Let's go to Virendra now. Virendra, you can, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for taking us through the program and the test format. I had questions on the program structure itself for the fees. So is it a fully funded scholarship for all of them, or like you would select some of them like 50%, 25% scholarship?
No.
And how long is this applicable for? Like if they take the test now, should they continue for the next 2 years, or is it only for the next immediate year?
So it's that to answer the second question first, it's for the immediate year. If they appear for the test, they have to attend LGP 2025. That is if they get selected. The test course or the test performance is we don't defer it to the subsequent years. The fully funded aspect, it is fully funded for all the students of the cohort. There are no hidden costs, nor there are any caps for a specific set of students. It's equally no cost to be borne by students for entire LGP cohort.
So excellent. Just one more follow-up. So if they have to continue the next year, would they have to go through the same exam process again?
So there is an internal evaluation process which determines students' engagement and participation in the first year or in that academic year of LGP. Basis that and along with that, of course, students' interest. We arrive at a conclusion if a student should be allowed to continue or not continue. So we do that call stays with LGBT.
Okay, just one last follow-up. Sorry. Would there be any career dimension that would be added in this program? Like after this, would they get more clarity on which stream they have to select or what they have to do in the career
Yeah.
next.
So, of course, that is one aspect that we also feel it's extremely crucial to work on. For now, the students do undergo or have a dedicated personalized mentorship as well. If they wish to brainstorm with on what colleges to pursue, what career options to take, what interventions should they make to be able to align better to those career options. So that kind of hand holding or the support is being something provided by LGP. Additionally, we do provide various internship opportunities as well, which would be either at a different research institution, at a national level or at an international level. That also gives them enough exposure to have a look at or to hone their interest and career aspirations further.
So before we go into the next person, thank you. Before we go into the next person, there are some questions about what about the junior track test? I think Prasenjit, if you just can go back into the slide where you're presenting that, it will be good because there are many questions about that. Of course, you have this recording. We will send this recording
So
to you
the
also.
junior track test will consist of two parts. Part A is logical and analytical reasoning, along with that basic mathematics, the sample questions of which I just showed. Part B will consist of a scenario-based question, of scientific inquisitiveness and social intelligence. Again, the samples of which I have just shown. So this is what is going to be for the junior track. The same test is going to also be for the science track students as well.
Okay. So I guess that clears many of your questions. So let's move to the next person that I see. It's Pradeep. Pradeep, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hello, good afternoon, ma'am. Am I audible to you? Good morning, ma'am, and good morning,
Yeah,
sir.
good morning.
Hello.
Sir, can you explain little bit about skipped question and review questions that we can attend it later on, or during the test also we can attend? Suppose if I am at present on second question and then I am moving on to the 10th question, and in middle I want to attend sixth question. Can I attend in the both cases in skipped question as well as review question? And what is the actual difference between both of them?
So in this skip question, it will take you to the next question. Okay, so it just means that, oh, I'm choosing to skip this question. I don't want to deal with this. Whereas the second option, when you said that you want to, if you click on, if you are on second question, and if you tap the skip question button, it will take you to the third question. That's it. That's the feature. And it will mark second question as the skipped question. If you directly go from second question through the question panel to the 10th question, it won't highlight the in-between questions as the skipped questions. It will just collect it as if you decided to move from one of the question to other. So it will essentially, I'll tell you where it will fall. It will fall on questions not viewed. Did you get the point?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, all right.
And review, sir? Review? We have to
So
mark that.
review is only available when you mark an option. So amongst the 4 options, if you tap on some option, then you have an option to review that answer later on, or if you just want to submit and move on to the next question. That
Okay, sir. And skipped question can be attended later on also.
skip question can be attended. So if you look at this, so here is this interface. Currently, it will have 2 buttons: skip and submit answer. Okay. I will make an option choice. Once I make an option choice, you will see the skip to change to review later. So it's not a separate button to avoid the confusion, but review later only comes once you give an option or you mark an option.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just wanted to say that I see that many questions are very repetitive. Basically, whatever we took you through the webinar, this could be probably because you have not listened, paid attention, or you have skipped that. So we will be sending you the recording of the webinar. So please go through it at your own pace if that is what you require, because many of these things we had already clarified. So I'm just going to type to you, please listen to the webinar. That means it's there in the webinar. So listen to it 2-3 times if that's what it takes for you. So just letting you know. Okay. Let's go to Navika.
Hello, hi. This side is Navika's mother. Actually, I had two questions. One is I am finding it hard to get the school number that we need to submit in the form. I have checked the class teacher, and as of now, she is not willing to share the contact details. So, in
Okay,
that
so
case, mhm.
I think a generic school number should also work.
Okay, generic school number can also work. Okay,
By
fine.
generic school number, I mean the number of your school. I mean the enrolled school. That should work.
Okay, fine, thank you. And second thing, I just missed in the initial part, like parents, I think should not be allowed within the class when the test is going on, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you
Mm.
come in the screen, then there's again a disqualification. So
Okay.
only the student should be, doing it.
Okay, and usually whenever we give any like examinations, like I being as a IT engineer, we give exams, and I have seen that they see whether they should not anything nearby to your place. So same thing has been done by your side also. We have to view from the camera that there is no books or anything nearby. How the training exams conduct, or it's a normal way of conduct. Like I think a student have to show the nearby place whether they don't have anything nearby, anything like that. They have to follow.
So we are not doing that where we are asking them to show the nearby surrounding or something.
Mm-hmm.
We are trusting students with those. Hence,
Okay.
the proctoring systems are pretty tight because since we are not controlling the environment in which a student is giving the test, uh, we would like to ensure that a certain student practices during the tests are followed. But to answer your question, no, we do not ask for to evaluate or inspect the surrounding in which a student is sitting.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so we don't have any hands raised right now. I can go to the quest.
Yes. Are there any repetitive or similar pattern questions? Then we can answer it maybe in the large group itself.
A lot of things about the maths track, how to prepare for it, what is the syllabus, etc., etc. So if we can, Prasenjit, if you can elaborate a little bit more.
So mathematics, maybe with sample questions coming in the test guideline, that should also clarify a little. Right now, what we are expecting or what you should expect questions on it's algebra, geometry, calculus. There would be some questions on calculus. And along with that, essentially what I would suggest is whatever is the curriculum for grade 11, 12th mathematics, that should be good enough for you to
वो कह रहे हैं कि फॉर्म में अगर स्कूल वाले इतना नहीं दे रहे हैं तो आपको
Okay.
yeah. So that essentially should be there. Nonetheless, if we are able to share the more detailed syllabus, we will include that in the test guideline document. So, which we will share sometime in January first week, at max second week. So you should be able to access that.
Yeah. So next is Nimisha. I'll ask her to unmute herself.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Good morning.
Yeah. First thing is, I would like to really request one thing very sincerely. Last year also we applied. What the thing is that Lodha process has been started pretty early, but the result comes last. Before that, few other very reputed summer camps results are already come, and once we confirm that, we cannot drop out. Otherwise, there is we cannot attend any future camp of that organization also.
Okay.
So my earnest request is, if you can just pass, means you can just line up with that pass and declare the result earlier. Last year, still last date of that confirmation, we keep on calling Lodha when the result will come because we really wanted to attend this.
I can, while I can't assure you to give results soon, I can tell you about the timelines that will help you to maybe look at alternative options better. Since the test will happen on the Feb first week, we will evaluate, test and complete everything in the process of March. End of Feb or March, we will reach out to shortlisted students for an interview. And since the people appearing for test will be in thousands, so the shortlist will be bigger. Interviews would be very much lined up. and you are currently seeing
Yes.
the team size, it's fairly small. It takes us some time to wrap up the student interviews as well. To be
Okay.
able to roll out first set of results through the interview, that also takes at least first week of April or so. Then also there are some
Okay.
shortlisted candidates, there are wetlisted candidates. The final
Okay.
confirmation we can only be able to assure by end of April. So,
All right.
and of course, some results will roll out in April sometime during that,
Yeah,
but
mid-April, I would say, mid-April. 1
so
month before.
correct. So it would be essentially around that window. So that's how the timeline looks like. And unfortunately, we won't be able to make adjustment for logistical reasons and also for the volume as well, the volume of
Right.
applications.
Okay. Okay.
So we'll also be doing a webinar on the 25th of Jan, where we will give you the clear timelines.
All right.
You know, what to expect when and everything. So that
Right.
will give you more clarity on the exact dates.
Okay. Okay. That's fair enough. My one more question is that sometimes during the camp, because it is a 1 month long camp, right? And Cambridge board students do have 1 or 2 papers left in the month of May season. Most of the papers for board exam will be taken during the March and February and March. So
Yeah.
for one paper, if student, because it's a board exam, student will allowed to go for 1 day, give the exam and come back.
Yes. We deal
Yes.
within a case-to-case basis, but then yes, we do allow.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And I hope in this webinar, because I'm traveling, I joined pretty late. So I hope that for senior students, science syllabus and math syllabus has been explained well, right?
Yes,
We
yes,
have
everything is
explained what it will essentially contain along with some sample questions. And if
Okay, so
there
I'll
are
go
more,
through the recordings.
yes,
I'll go
thank you
through
so
the
much.
Okay.
If there
Thank you.
are
Thank you.
also, if there are any doubts additional in general, you can always write to us or call on our helpline numbers.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
I think we have
Thank
shared it
you.
in the chat, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all shared. It's all shared.
Perfect, perfect.
All right. Next attendee, I'm going to let Pandurang Zambare. Yeah.
Sambre.
Samre.
Yes, could you inform me about the internship prospects that will be provided by the program?
Could you, sorry, internship provided? Could you please repeat?
Yeah, like more details about the internship prospects that is provided by the program.
So one internship is currently something called a science internship program, where 5 of our LGP students would be going in this month, in the month of July to August 2025, which will be held at University of California, Santa Cruz. Along with that, few of our students visited a Design for Change conference, which is essentially a design thinking, solving problems of society using design thinking approach. That happened in Dubai in the month of November. There are also few students who will be representing LGP and India for mathematics Olympiad competition of sorts, which will be held in France. So it's a mix of some set of internships, some set of competitions, conferences. One of our student also did internship at Center for Wildlife Studies. So those are slightly the varied nature of internships that we are offering. And of course, these are the started this year. We'll diversify it and expand it more.
I see.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we'll go to the next person. Oh, let's Android Blue Droid. Android Blue Droid, can you unmute and ask your question?
Am I audible?
Yes.
I'm sorry for not renaming myself, first of all. So
That's
my
okay.
question is that how would a candidate would get to know that he or she is not selected for this particular program?
So we will reach out after the online test. We will only reach out to shortlisted candidates.
Yeah, and we will have a banner on our website that the results are out. So if you haven't got a communication, that means you're not in.
Okay, thank you. Got it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Next, we go to Debaditya.
Yes, hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how many people will be shortlisted for from each group?
Those counts we can't share at this moment.
So could we see how much? What's the percentage of children being shortlisted, or will that be confidential?
That also we might not disclose. We will only disclose towards the end in terms of how many applicants we had and how many selections we made. But the minor shortlisting, because there's a
Yeah,
lot of
sure.
variables there. It also depends on how many applicants for a particular grade group appear for
I
test,
can hear
which
you,
we
sir.
don't know as of now. So anyway, those are some variable differences which will depend on how many people appear for the test, how many is the cohort size. What I can tell you right now is the cohort size is 300 for 2025. So some of the backtracking and shortlistings would be made also keeping that figure in mind. But right now we won't be mostly making it public on how many students we are shortlisting, or we'll also be able to comment.
All right. Thank you. We move on to next person. Can see two hands raised. That's Palak. Palak.
Hi, good morning. So my question is regarding the content of the program. Like during this whole 1 month, how are you going to deliver? Like, will they be, because it is primarily STEM based? That's what I have understood by reading your this. So there will be a real life projects they will be working on, or it would be a theory, or how? What is the real content delivery that's going to happen? A brief view about it, yeah.
So one thing is, at any of these projects or workshops that happens at campus, students would be actively learning. It won't be a passive consumption of knowledge, and it is going to be a hands-on learning. So for that, we have a very small size of for each project, which is not more than 10 students or something. What I would also suggest is if you could visit the website, and if you could just check in the course description, it has some experience on it and some outline on how it happens. That will give you more clearer idea. But those are none of our workshops or projects or anything is a theory or a lecture based model. It's more on a hands-on learning model or hands-on learning approach.
Also,
Okay.
you can visit our previous webinar. So we have put it in the chat window. So where we actually go through details of each project, each workshop, who is eligible for project, who is eligible for workshop, and all these things. That was our, first webinar.
The first webinar, yes.
Yeah.
If you could
So,
check that.
yeah, that will also help you.
Okay, and another question I have regarding like part A of the paper, you said it is logical reasoning and maths, 60 minutes, 60 sums. And
30
part
minutes,
B,
60 questions.
sorry, 30 minutes, 60 questions. Same further 30 minutes for part B, which has scientific and this, correct?
Yes.
This is, but somewhere in the screen you showed 60 and 40 questions, so that made us little confused.
Wait,
So,
let me clarify that. So that 40 questions is only for mathematics track. I'll share the screen. So this is only for mathematics track. For the advanced mathematics section that they will have, it will consist of 40 questions and not 60 questions.
Okay. So for others, it is again part B is 2 sections, like subsections, like 60 questions, 30 each kind of.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Just a correction.
And a child.
Sorry to interrupt. Just a correction. The number of questions from each subpart or subsection won't be equal. That is still under.
So it will be a part B number of questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 Yeah.
And will the test be same for a junior track and a science track? Like the same paper pattern will go around? Because they are 9th and 10th, the others are 12th graders. So will the difficulty level and all? Yeah.
Difficulty level will be also taken care of, since it's the number of the main thing is how many number of how many questions you can solve within the stipulated time. So there is not much adjustment to the rigor, but it won't be like we will be comparing a grade 9 student's performance to a grade 12 student's performance. It will, the comparison of the test and how you perform would be only within the grade group. So irrespective, one must not feel at a disadvantage that you are competing for something with a
12th grader or
older
yeah.
grade student. So it won't be like that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next there is, okay, I'm just going to lower her hand. Who's the other one? Yeah, there's Arnav Agarwal.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, good morning, sir. I'm Arnav Agarwal. My question is that as you said that the test will be held in you can do in the computer. So there is my computer do not have any webcam and other. So how will you monitor, and will I have to join the class or I have to do within the time?
So right now, webcam is not a mandatory feature or a requirement that we are putting it across as a test. Ideally, along with that, the only requirement that your system should fulfill is the OS requirement and the web browser requirement. The other proctoring details includes, of course, copying questions and something. In parallel, we will still figure out what can be done of the webcam situation, and we'll inform closer to the test. I mean, we'll give enough window.
Yeah, we'll do it on a case-to-case basis, but we will have all the parameters on.
Okay, and while giving the test, and we have to join a class, or we have to give the test without any class or something.
So, class by class, you mean as in all students coming together and appearing for a test? Is that what you mean?
Sir, while that I will give the test in my computer, and I will join a class in my smartphone, or I have to, or something that.
No, so you just will get a link to the test. You have to just start the test and complete the test. There is no joining of class or anything per se.
Okay,
It would
thank you,
just
sir.
be something like this. You will get an email, you copy, paste the link in your browser, or you start the test, and that's it. It starts your test journey. So no other additional requirement or anything.
And one more, sir, question. Sorry, sir. Will you prefer any books or something that can give us samples, questions, or something?
So I answered this before, but we will share sample questions with you. Some of it we have already shown. We don't endorse any particular resources or books that you should look at. What we would suggest is if you wish to prepare, you can look at, there are multiple online resources available for logical reasoning. You can go through those questions and attempt to answer those questions.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so there is a question which Manisha has raised. There are several questions about MCQs. Whether all questions are based on MCQs. Yes, they are MCQ questions.
All questions, exactly. Only MCQ questions with single option correct. So it's the entire test is going to be that format. No subject questions.
Yeah, I think we are well past the time. It's
Oh, yeah.
12:05 now. So we have to conclude. I think we have covered most of the questions and almost 196 questions covered. So if you still have questions, one is a lot of questions again are repetitive. So please go back to the webinar recording. It will be sent to you in a couple of days. Go to it, go through it multiple times to make sure you understand everything. And also, if you do not get the recording in a week's time, all these webinars will be available on our YouTube videos. The link is also given in the chat. And still you have questions, you write to us in the email ID which is mentioned. Again, it's put right here in the chat window. So please, all this information on the chat window, this last block which Siddharth has put is very important. So keep a note of all the numbers, email ID, websites, videos, and everything. Go through it very thoroughly.
Yeah. And the applications for LGP are open. So please start your application. If you're already started, please complete your application as soon as possible. All right. I think that is it. Thank you so much for joining and have a nice day.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Hey, can you just stay back? The
We should,
LGP people. Oh, Arnav
we
is
should
here.
join a different link.